I opened my bank statement on a Tuesday at lunch. I was expecting to feel proud. Instead, I found out I'd lost $4,200 over 3 years. Not to fees, not to a scam, not to anything dramatic. Just to where my money had been sitting the entire time. And that's when I realized safe had quietly cost me more than risky ever would have. My name is Marcus, and I want to tell you exactly how that happened because there's a good chance the same thing is happening to you right now. I almost didn't open that statement at all, so I did the math, slowly, twice because I didn't believe it the first time. The gap between those two numbers was $4,200. Not lost in a crash, not stolen, just quietly absorbed, one ordinary month at a time. To understand how this happened, you have to go back 3 years to a break room at my old job. I was 24. An older coworker turned to me out of nowhere and said, "You better start early." I waited too long. That was it. No system, no instructions, just a warning with nothing attached to it. So I did what most people do. I opened a savings account. I started putting money in every month. I watched a few YouTube videos and bought some index funds. I read 2 personal finance books and felt, for the first time, like I was actually ahead of the game. I want you to notice something here, because it matters for everything that happens next. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't careless. I was doing the responsible thing. That's exactly why this mistake is so dangerous. It doesn't look like a mistake while you're making it. Here's what my financial life actually looked like behind the scenes. 2 accounts, checking and savings. That's it. Whenever I had a little extra, or whenever something unexpected came up, money moved freely between the two. Back and forth. No separation. It felt fine. It felt normal. Most people I knew banked exactly the same way. When everything lives in 2 accounts with no clear purpose attached to either one, your money stops growing the way it should. It just sits. It mixes. A little gets pulled here. A little gets justified there. None of it feels like a problem in the moment. Each individual decision feels completely reasonable. It's only when you add 3 years of those reasonable decisions together that you get a number like $4,200 staring back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. The first time I felt something was wrong, I was lying in bed at 6:14 in the morning, wide awake for no reason I could explain. I'd done the math the night before, quietly, on a notes app one never showed anyone. The number staring back at me didn't match the effort I'd been putting in. It didn't even come close. I did what a lot of people do when the numbers stop making sense. I blamed myself. Maybe I'd spent too much. Maybe my timing was bad. Maybe I just needed to earn more. What I didn't consider, not even once, was that the problem had nothing to do with how hard I was working. It had everything to do with where my money was sitting. I didn't know it yet, but the conversation that was about to change everything started with a casual lunch, a colleague named Daniel, and a suggestion I almost didn't take seriously. 3 weeks later, I walked into an accountant's office with my laptop under my arm, telling myself I probably didn't even need to be there. What happened in the next 60 seconds in that office dismantled 3 years of everything I thought I understood about my own money. And it started with him pointing at my screen and asking me one question I wasn't ready to answer. He didn't pick up a marker right away. He just looked at me for a second, the way someone looks at you when they already know the answer. Then he asked me the question, "Who set this up for you?" I told him I did it myself. He nodded slowly. He turned around to a small whiteboard behind his desk and wrote 3 words, one under the other. Then he tapped the first word and said something that made me sit back in my chair. Most people, he said, never separate these 3 jobs. They run their entire financial life through one account and call it simple. I told him I had 2 accounts. He asked me how often I moved money between them. I started to answer, then stopped because I was actually counting in my head and the number was higher than I wanted to admit out loud. "It feels fine," he said, right up until it doesn't. And here's the dangerous part. It never announces itself. It just quietly costs you month after month while looking completely normal the entire time. My coworkers thought I was responsible because I had a savings account at all. My family thought I was doing great because I wasn't in debt. Even I thought I was ahead because compared to people who weren't saving anything, I clearly was doing something right. Nobody was lying to me. They just didn't know enough to see what I couldn't see either. It doesn't look like failure. It looks like progress. You get complimented on the exact habit that's quietly working against you. There was a moment about a year before that meeting that should have warned me. My car needed an unexpected repair. Without thinking twice, I pulled the money straight out of my savings account. No hesitation, no friction. I told myself I'd replace it. And eventually I did, mostly. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. The ease of that withdrawal was the actual problem. A protection account isn't supposed to be that easy to touch. The accountant later called this friction. Friction is protection. I had built a financial life with zero friction anywhere in it, which meant nothing was actually protected. It just felt protected because the number on the screen looked fine. Back in his office, the accountant closed my laptop slowly. Then he looked at me and said 6 words I was not prepared to hear. "You have been paying to stay broke." I laughed, genuinely laughed, right there in his office, because it sounded completely impossible. He didn't laugh back. He just waited, the way someone waits when they know the joke is going to stop being funny in about 10 seconds. It did. He opened the laptop again and pointed at one account, then another, then a third, one I didn't even have yet, but apparently needed. And that's when it actually landed. The problem was never how hard I worked. It was where my money went the moment it arrived. I sat there in the silence that followed, and for the first time since I'd walked into that office telling myself I probably didn't need to be there, I knew exactly why I did. What he told me next wasn't complicated. In fact, it was almost insultingly simple. I was about to find out exactly how wrong that instinct was. He said the moment my salary arrives, a fixed percentage moves to protection. A fixed percentage moves to growth. Whatever's left goes to operations, not the other way around. I sat back in my chair because that one sentence had just reversed the entire logic of how I'd been handling money for 3 years. I'd been paying everyone else first, my landlord, my utility company, my grocery store. Pay yourself first wasn't a suggestion. It was a recognition of something I'd had backwards the entire time. I sat in my car in that parking lot for a long time after the meeting ended. Not because I was upset. My brain had started negotiating with itself. Maybe next month is a better time to fix this. Every thought dressed in the clothing of logic, secretly wearing the face of fear. But I'd already seen the number. $4,200. 3 years of effort, funneled through a structure that quietly worked against me the whole time. There was no scandal, no crash, no single bad decision I could point to. It was 3 years of small, reasonable choices made by someone who was trying. So I closed the laptop. Not in defeat, in decision. The next morning I restructured everything. It took 47 minutes, start to finish. My operations account already existed, I just redefined its rules. Salary in, fixed expenses out, nothing else. My protection account. I opened a new one at a separate bank, slightly less convenient to access, exactly the way the accountant described. I transferred 3 months of expenses into it immediately and set up an automatic monthly contribution. My growth account, I already had a brokerage, so I just set up an automatic transfer, same day as payday, before anything else moved. Then I sat back and looked at the screen. 3 accounts, 3 specific jobs. It looked almost embarrassingly simple. Like something that should have taken years to build had taken less than an hour to arrange. The first week felt strange. Not difficult, strange. Like wearing a watch on the opposite wrist. The second week brought an unexpected bill, the kind that used to send me into a small, quiet panic. This time, I checked my protection account, transferred the exact amount needed, and moved on with my day. The system absorbed the shock exactly the way the accountant said it would. No ripple, no reset, no 3 steps backward. I stopped checking my banking app compulsively, not because I stopped caring, because I finally trusted the structure I'd built. The low hum of financial anxiety I'd been carrying for 3 years started to quiet down. Financial anxiety rarely comes from not having enough money. It comes from not knowing what your money is doing. It replaced anxiety with architecture, replaced hope with habit, replaced intention with infrastructure. 6 months after that meeting, I had lunch with Daniel, the same colleague who'd suggested I see the accountant in the first place. This time, I was the one leaning forward talking. He told me he didn't learn about the 3 accounts until he was 38. 14 years of doing exactly what I'd been doing. Nobody tells you this stuff directly. They teach you what to invest in. They never teach you how to structure the foundation first. 1 year later, I sat down and calculated my actual net worth for the first time in 3 years. The number was moving, clearly, consistently, in one direction, not dramatically, just steadily, every single month. 3 accounts, 1 reversal of logic. This is Marcus, and this was never really a story about investing.